All right, welcome everyone. Today we're diving into a real showdown between three absolute workhorses of SQL: the subquery, the common table expression, and the temporary table. And trust me, this is about way more than just syntax. It's about speed, it's about efficiency, and it's really about learning to engineer how your database actually thinks. So, picture this. You've just written this really complex query. The logic, it looks perfect. All the joins are there, everything makes sense. But then you hit execute, and you wait, and you wait. It is just unbelievably slow. We have all been there, right? Well, a lot of the time, the real culprit isn't your logic. It's the tool you chose to build it with. So are you choosing the right one? To figure that out, we have to start thinking about the query performance puzzle. See, the key to making things fast isn't just about what your query says. It's about understanding all the hidden steps, the hidden costs that the database has to deal with to get you an answer. And that's where the performance game is truly won or lost. At the very heart of this puzzle are these things called intermediate results. You can think of them like temporary scratch pads that your query uses between steps. How the database engine decides to handle these little transient datasets, well, that's the battleground where our three tools are competing. So let's officially meet our three contenders. We've got the old school classic, the subquery. We've got the clean, readable, and elegant CTE. And we have the brute force powerhouse, the temporary table. Each one of these has a completely different strategy for handling those intermediate results we were just talking about. First up, the subquery. This is, the most basic way to nest logic inside another query. Most of the time, the database optimizer is smart and it'll try to inline it. Basically, it just flattens your nested query out into one big operation. That can be awesome, but it comes with risks, especially with correlated subqueries, which can force this really slow, row-by-agonizing-row execution pattern. It can be a real performance nightmare. Next up, the common table expression, or CTE. Now, using that with clause was a huge leap forward, mainly for readability. CTEs let you define your logic in these clean, separate, top-down blocks. It's just a massive improvement over the kind of inside-out spaghetti code you can get with a bunch of deeply nested subqueries. And finally, the temporary table. Now, the keyword here, the one I really want you to remember, is physical. Unlike the other two, a temp table is a real thing that gets written to a database, like tempdb. This means it sticks around for your whole session. And, this is the superpower, it can have its own dedicated statistics and you can even create indexes on it. That's a game changer. Okay, this table just lays it all out perfectly. You can see the life cycle right there. Subqueries and CTEs, they live and die with a single query execution. Temp tables, they stick around. But look, the two rows that matter most for performance are right here: materialization and indexing. Temp tables are always physically materialized, and you can index them. The others, not so much. This is the difference that makes all the difference. And that brings us right to the core conflict, the big dilemma that the database optimizer is constantly facing. Should it use a purely logical plan, or should it go with a physical one? This, right here, is where the magic, and sometimes the trouble, really happens. Think of it like this. You're a chef. Inlining, which is what happens with most subqueries and CTEs, is like getting one long, ridiculously complex recipe. Now, a master chef, our optimizer, can look at the whole thing at once and find clever ways to optimize it. Materialization, on the other hand, is like doing a proper mise en place. You're prepping all your ingredients first, creating these physical checkpoints of data. This gives the optimizer perfect information for the next step of the recipe. So here's the absolute crucial point. When the optimizer goes with that logical approach, it has to guess. It has to estimate how many rows are going to come out of each step. And in a really complex query with lots of joins and filters, that guess can be, well, disastrously wrong. A bad guess leads to a bad plan, like choosing the wrong kind of join. This right here is the #1 performance killer we're talking about today, the cardinality estimation gap. Just how wrong can it be? Well, here's a real-world example for you. The optimizer took a look at an intermediate step and estimated it would produce just 66 rows. The actual number? 50,073. That one single massive miscalculation completely tanked the query's performance. That is the cardinality estimation gap in action, and it is brutal. Now, this is where it gets even more interesting, because not all databases handle this stuff the same way. You might think they do, but you would be wrong. The choice to inline or to materialize a CTE, for instance, is a huge design decision, and it is wildly different from platform to platform. Let's just take a look at the journey PostgreSQL has been on. Before version 12, as you can see, CTEs were kind of a performance trap. They were always materialized, which basically acted like a fence, stopping the optimizer from doing smart things like pushing filters down into the query. Then version 12 comes along and introduces automatic inlining. Total game changer. And now with version 17, it's getting even smarter. It's just a fantastic story of evolution. Now let's hop over to the SQL Server world and look at a classic problem, traversing a really deep hierarchy, like an org chart. You've got two main paths. You can use an elegant, beautiful, recursive CTE, or you can use a more procedural approach, a simple loop that shoves data into a temp table. So it's elegance versus raw power. Which one do you think wins? Yeah, the results aren't even close. They are just staggering. To chew through a 100-level hierarchy, the recursive CTE took 14 minutes. The temp table loop? Less than 1 second. For this kind of deep recursion, the overhead of how the CTE works internally just makes it deeply inefficient, while the simple set-based operations on that physical temp table are absolutely lightning fast. So after seeing all of this, how do you actually make the right choice in your own work? Let's build a really simple framework to help you decide when to stick with a CTE and when it's time to pull out the heavy machinery and switch to a temp table. Here is your 3-step diagnostic for when your query hits that performance wall. Step 1, analyze the execution plan. Pop it open and actually look at it. Step 2, check those row counts. You're hunting for that massive cardinality estimation gap we talked about. And finally, step 3, identify reuse. If you see a complex CTE being referenced over and over again, you're probably forcing the database to recompute it every single time. And when you do decide to use a temporary table, which is often a very smart move, make sure you follow these best practices. Always index your join keys to speed up what comes next. Only select the columns you absolutely need, don't bring the whole kitchen sink. And finally, be a good citizen and explicitly drop the table when you're done with it. You know, this quote just gets right to the heart of everything we've talked about. The big takeaway here goes way beyond just picking the right syntax. Mastery is not just a matter of writing SQL, but of engineering the physical execution of data transformation. So I'll leave you with this. The next time you're staring down a query that is taking forever to run, and you pop open that execution plan and you see that huge glaring gap between the estimated and the actual rows, what's your next move going to be? The great thing is, now you have the framework to make an informed, powerful choice. Thanks for joining me.